happened, right?
Nothing happened.
Nobody died. No pawn was brought to us.
Nope. It's all fine. Everything's gonna be fine. Winry's gonna be fine. It's all good.
I assume she's gonna be fine by the end.
Yeah.
I don't know about now.
We don't know about the middle.
The first homunculus.
Yeah. Dara, you ready for the first homunculus?
No.
You're not. I'm so excited.
Is it recording?
Yes. Alright. Ready? And we're back. We're still talking about Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, episode 37. The First Homunculus. Dara, I would ask you what you think.
Go!
Before we go that, we gotta talk about a synopsis. We gotta figure out what...
Go!
Who is the first homunculus? Great question. I would love to tell you. We're gonna find out right now. Not right now. It takes us a little bit into the episode for us to like really get that information. Of course, as we ended the last episode, it was revealed that one of the dirty tricks that they were playing
was to manipulate poor Winry.
I didn't have a chance. We were in a hurry, okay?
Yeah, and when are you guys ever not in a hurry? Anyway, what did you do to get locked up?
It's only a misunderstanding. Just a lack of
Go away!
I'll have them released.
Nobody likes you.
In no time at all.
Like, literally, nobody likes you.
These two are lucky to have you watching out for them.
It's nothing. Listen, I wouldn't trust Kimberly if I were
He's
you.
right there!
Why not? He seems nice.
Oh, honey. But yeah, so Winry, they brought Winry in just to really, like...
repair Ed's automail.
Just
clearly.
Only ever to repair Ed's automail, and for no other reason. It's definitely not, like, a power thing, and they're definitely not going to hold it over him to demand anything else from him. That's ridiculous. Why would you think that? Anyway, so Winry is here.
We also like Kim to like kind of like emotionally manipulate her.
Is it true that your parents lost their lives while giving medical attention during the war?
That's right.
Thought so. I was part of the squadron that recovered their bodies.
What?
We had been dispatched to help them, but it was too late.
Such a good guy. I did nothing wrong.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course you were dispatched to help them. There's a little more nefarious after some other stuff that's revealed
and they
behind
helped
it.
the needy
I'm
right
not
up
sure
to
if
the
it's
end.
real here.
I respect their bravery. I wish that I could have had the chance to meet them.
You son of a bitch.
I hate
They were
you.
holding a photo of a precious little girl when we found them, and I knew
Stop!
right away
Stop!
that it was their daughter.
Don't play with her like
I
that.
thought of
Yeah.
And like lie his ass off and being like, oh, yeah, I heard your parents were there. I was actually part of the group that like helped people out. I didn't commit any war crimes ever. No.
It's so just sinister in the way where, because Ed, as Winry is kind of replacing Ed's automail to give him the new, like, cold weather appropriate automail, he kind of like pulls her closer and he's like, don't trust that fucker. Do not trust that guy. He sucks. And she's like, why? He seems so nice. And then we get to see more of, like, Kimberly being very emotionally manipulative, and doesn't come off like that to Winry, obviously, but he talks about her parents and he knows how to hit home where it's gonna, like, really pull her heartstrings, which is talking about her parents, talking about the conflict and the war. And he said, he was actually on the team that was going to, like, come extract them. So, like, I was actually doing good, which is totally definitely what his job was.
I didn't cause the thing that caused the thing to get your parents killed.
It definitely wasn't. Hold on, I want to see if anything is... I'm sorry, I'm making this very fun for you to edit because I'm like, hold on, I need 2 minutes to do nothing. So, but yeah, Kimberly just says some dumb, stupid shit.
Yeah, I think the worst thing for me was just like saying like, yeah, like we found their bodies. They had this like picture of this little girl.
Yeah, and so like, I know they were always thinking about you, and it's so, knowing the kind of person that Kimberly is, it just feels very sinister and awful. But of course, like, she has no reason, like she sees it more as like, oh, like, he's a person who's trying to connect with me, and I really appreciate that, and is more inclined to trust him. But Ed's like...
But I feel like also, like, in that point, like, Winry would trust Ed more than Kimberly. Like, Kimberly was nice, but, like, Ed is, like, her brother, essentially.
Yeah. And
nothing else.
And nothing more. Well, because Ed starts to give more details, but then all he can remember, because these details came out of the conversation with Hawkeye, in which she said, he's like, because you're in love with her, right?
what that psychopath did in Ishval.
Remember?
But what do I know?
I've only got Lieutenant Hawkeye's experiences to go by.
But she's right.
She thinks I...
Speaking of Winry, you're in love with her.
Walk away.
That's what crushes feel like.
Don't freak out. Just think about something else.
This is it.
Try to think about something else.
Put it down, buddy. Put it down.
And Ed freaks out being confronted by his own feelings.
Definitely doesn't get an erection.
We're not gonna. Don't worry. About
I mean, if you think of it, like if you think about the whole distraction thing, it's like you get the vibe.
No,
It
I
comes
feel
off
like
as
it'll read between the lines. You can tell like what's going on here.
He's like, "What is this feeling so sudden and new?"
So it's very funny, and also like Winry too after because Ed like panics and then he has to figure out how to distract himself.
And he's such a nerd
to come back down.
Ed?
He's such a nerd.
Phosphorus, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt.
Why did I have to fall in love with such a weirdo?
Huh? Did you say something?
No, Ed, I didn't say anything.
Oh, they love each other.
What the hell, Winry? I told you to warn me before you connect the nerves, all right?
Yeah. Now let's do your leg.
I'm upset.
Yeah. Anyway, and so he starts rattling off all the entire periodic table of elements. That's how he distracts himself.
Like you do.
And Winry is like, of course, this is the guy I fall in love with. So it's very funny. We have this whole like mutual pining thing going on where they're both clearly in love with each other, but they won't say it to each other. But they both very clearly have similar feelings for each other. But this is not the time or place to talk about them.
That's
so,
true.
Like,
Especially because, like, I feel like if, especially like I mean, like she's already a hostage.
Yeah.
In a way, but I feel like if everybody kind of figured out there was like a more romantic feelings, it would be worse.
Oh, it would be so much worse. But Ed is able, regardless, to get his new automail.
And then Winry nerds out. It's so pretty.
Left for me to upgrade too.
Whoa, what kind of reinforcement is that on the claws? They're not diamond tipped, are they?
Aw.
Yeah, she's fully modified. It's a specially crafted model.
I'm glad you got some fun.
You want me to upgrade you to one of these?
My style.
It's a little weird.
It's kind of his style.
She's too cute to be hanging around you.
I'm a mechanic.
Winry nerds out, exactly, because Buccaneer comes in and he gets to show off his automail. He's not even showing it off. Like, Winry just sees him and starts geeking out about it, like, really just asking all kinds of questions. And, like, Buccaneer, like, his cold heart's a little melted by that, so they kind of talk about that. Let's see.
I love how, like, everybody's a nerd.
Mm-hmm. And it's just very
Ed's
funny.
a nerd for science, Winry's a nerd for automail, Kimberly's a nerd for war crime.
Yay! But Kimberly does show back up and basically pulls Ed aside to talk and make sure that Al is not there. So they are being very smart and kind of like...
Your little upgrade's all taken care of and out of the way. So why don't we find a place to sit down? I'm eager to discuss our business.
Excuse me? Can you tell me why you're keeping me in the cell?
Because that's where Mr. Kimberly wants you.
We were given specific instructions and orders to only release the Fullmetal Alchemist. You just sit tight and behave
Good strategy, Kimberly.
Ron will be back
He's
soon.
playing it safe by keeping us separated.
Divide and
And
conquer.
But
by
you can't kill
dragging
him.
Winry up here.
Uh-huh.
Yet.
I
He
mean,
just
you
wants
can,
to
but
remind us they've got
Well,
something.
he
you
can.
just don't know how.
No, I know I meant
I never realized just
Plan-wise.
how nervous we
Oh,
were.
that's true, that's true.
I've got to be patient. Just wait for my chance.
rip it.
There's this divide and conquer kind of aspect to them because they know the brothers are very powerful together. And let's just for safety, just kind of like... In the meantime, the Briggs team is sending a few men down that secret door so they can go and try to recover.
The advance team took 3 days' provisions. It's been an entire week since we last heard from them.
That's cutting it close.
I'm also concerned about the team's sanity. An entire week in total darkness.
Briggsmen don't get scared of the dark.
Yeah.
General, there's no telling what could happen to us while we're down here. If we're not back within 24 hours, seal up this hole with concrete.
Very well then. I'll do so.
I love you.
And also, I love you, but not like in a romantic way. I just love you, boss.
I
Yeah.
want all of you to listen.
The men who have been lost in that, whatever happened, and they do mention that, like, oh, we sent supplies. They went with rations for 3 days. It's been over a week, so like it's do or die time. We got to get down there now, and so they kind of go down there. And also in the meantime, Armstrong also shares with her men that, hey, just in case word gets out about Raven, you weren't there and you didn't see anything. It was all me. If anybody asks, it was me, not you, not your responsibility, my problem. And so she is fully ready to take the fall for everything and not implicate her men, because she's like, you know, my problem, not yours.
Yeah.
And her men, you can tell that they are not happy about that, but they do agree to it. Because again, they all stick up for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we're going to go to Central City. So, of course, the last episode when we ended on the post-credit.
Is that so? Sounds like things are getting out of hand up north.
Indeed. They could use an offensive lead about now. The Fort Briggs strong suit is defense. But you need more than defense.
Who are
if
you?
you plan on being the one to make the first strike. With the offensive expertise of your eastern forces, Madame Olivier believes they have a chance.
I'm honored that she would choose me as her partner in arms.
Oh no. Madame Olivier needs the strength of your army, not you. She said you might as well just get lost.
Fuck off!
Roy had come across a flower seller and who had some information from him, it seems, so that flower seller is really able to fill him in on kind of some of the things that are going on. And basically one of the reasons why Mustang is being contacted, not just to receive information, but to kind of request a kind of team up almost, where he's like, hey, we are really good. We are literally, you know, the wall. We're good at defending things. Doesn't mean we're good at like attacking thing. We're good at defense. We're not good at offense.
Yeah.
So, but you and your guys,
mainly
remember,
your team, mainly your guys.
Yeah. Your team, like from the East region specifically. Again, that was the one that was in the war, so they're good at offending. There's like, hey, you're the team in the East. We need those guys right now. So like, let's go. And then he's like,
you can fuck off.
You can you can kick rocks pretty much. That's the kind of information there. And somehow in doing so, that Roy has ended up, the cost of all this information is the entire cart of flowers, which ends up being, I think, 65.
I have to ask. It's kind of risky telling me this. What's stopping me from warning Fuhrer Bradley?
Well, you are. She assured me you weren't that kind of man. Well then, that'll be 35,000 cents, please.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Bye.
Hey, wait.
Bye, lady.
Who are you?
Oh, just someone who served the Armstrong family for generations.
Is she an Armstrong?
Yeah.
Aw.
Well, Hughes,
all Armstrongs have a little whoop.
safe to say that our closest allies, they invariably turn out to be the same
Mama?
people that we fought side by side with out on the battlefield.
I don't know if that's what
But
Somebody.
I do.
It's like a
These
freak.
flowers.
Oh, no, he's looking at us.
Get laid.
Sure, might as well have some fun.
It's
Yeah.
a massacre.
No, 35,000 cents, which is about $350. Of course, but Roy's got money, so that's good. And we don't know who this flower woman is. She just like popped up out of nowhere, and Roy doesn't actually know either. So he's like, "Who are you?" And so it's really cute. She just says that she's merely an old woman who has served the Armstrong family for generations, and she removes her hat and she has like little like Armstrong family.
So she is an Armstrong. We still don't know how she's related.
She says she served the Armstrong family, so we can't. She's probably not like directly like a
cousin, like a distant cousin.
Could be like a distant cousin or something. Yeah, but
Which
it's really
nice that
funny.
like even if like we don't love each other, we just stick together.
I love. I feel like they pull back on this joke more in Brotherhood, but I feel like it was a lot more like in your face in the original, with like Armstrong being like, it's been passed down the Armstrong family for generations. Like that's his whole line. It is so funny, and I love him. So you know those guys who were in the tunnel? Well,
Yeah.
they send the other guys to find them, and it turns out not all of them died.
It's exactly the same as Smith's arm. Even this metal was sliced clean through.
Keep on the lookout. It might be close.
Rip!
They're still alive! Are you all right? Speak to me. Look here.
Lieutenant Henschel?
Are they
Thank
traumatized?
goodness you're okay.
Absolutely fucking traumatized.
Is there anyone else? What happened?
They were all traumatized, though.
There's 2 guys left. One is the one who lost the arm, so one is now down a hand. And there's another guy there, and they are terrified. They are so traumatized. There's like a wild, like they have wild eyes there.
It's like a shadow that has a lot of ears and eyes.
Yeah, and so they even like they say mention of a shadow.
I swear, they were all ripped apart.
Hello?
Listen, we have to get out of here. It's coming back.
Yeah, you should probably go.
Please, you gotta get rid of the lights. The shadow. Hey, you're all right now.
They should probably get out of there.
Should probably turn off the
Come
lights.
on, pull yourself together. The shadow.
Oh, it's the Cheshire Cat. Okay, bye.
Let's go. Try to help them walk as much as you can.
And we can actually see in the distance that whatever attacked them, and they also mentioned that the other guys have been like absolutely ripped to shreds. So they are the only survivors. They are the sole survivors of this attack. Everyone else is donezo. But they are trying to talk about this shadow thing. We can actually see it's still there, and we can see kind of its like eyes and mouth.
Yeah.
You know, there. And it starts like creeping up on them when they start talking about the shadow, because obviously if they reveal too much, like they will have to get but they don't really pay any mind to like the things they're saying, so they temper it. So the shadow figure kind of withdraws and allows the traumatized men to leave with the reconnaissance.
And that's the last we see of the shadow.
Definitely the last we see of the shadow. Anyway.
What's next?
So back in Central.
Also, where's the first homunculus?
That's a good
But I
question.
have some urgent documents the Fuhrer needs to read right away.
Oh, my dear. I'm sorry, but my husband isn't home right now.
It'd be wonderful if he could look these over by tomorrow.
Are you alive?
That is urgent. But don't you worry, I'll make sure that he does.
Well, thank you. I appreciate.
Salim, shouldn't you be in bed?
I was, but then I heard the door. I thought that it might be Father coming home.
This is your
Tubular!
father's assistant, Lieutenant Hawkeye.
It's very nice to meet
Wait
you.
a minute.
It's nice.
So we see Hawkeye. We love Hawkeye. I love Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
And so she goes to the Fuhrer's mansion with kind of important papers. She's like, hey, this is really important for the Fuhrer. And Mrs. Bradley is like, oh, sorry, he's not here right now. And she's like, oh, that's cool. Can you make sure he gets this? And I'm like, I don't think that works like that. Usually classified information does not work like that.
You don't give it to the wife.
Yeah, you don't give it to your wife. But anyway.
What happens?
And so Riza gets like a sense of something, and we can almost see like what looks like a little hand, like that's a shadow kind of like creeping out, and then kind of draws back really quickly. Which feels like we just saw that recently, but don't worry about it. And so she turns around, and what is he just standing there, clear as day, is Salim Bradley.
Tubular. This is definitely wow. This is definitely my real voice, and it's not in any way creepy voice.
So Salim Bradley and is here, and so he's just here to be like, he's like, oh, hi, how you doing? And then like kind of usher him off to bed because like it's late, Master Salim, get out of here. And so then great. And then so Hawkeye and Mrs. Bradley get to talking, and Mrs. Bradley loves her son.
Hey.
He seems like a really shy kid.
He certainly is. He's the pride of my life. I know it's impolite to brag about my son, but that shouldn't apply since he's adopted.
What?
I really shouldn't act so surprised, though. He is related to my husband, so he must have some of his genes.
He's not related to you?
Oh, no.
Cailin.
Yeah?
This just doesn't add
Don't worry
up.
about it. Mrs. Bradley. Mrs. Bradley loves her
She
son.
might be more innocent than I originally thought. I still don't trust her.
Yeah.
But
her innocence is a boon to us and a detriment to others, because she just gets talking about like she genuinely loves her son, and she's like oh, he's actually like, we've talked about before how Salim Bradley is adopted. We don't know where from, so we didn't get the origin story.
I specifically said, but he does kind of look like the Fuhrer.
Yeah, even though Fuhrer is like very insistent that they don't look alike, and so but Mrs. Bradley actually does share that the way that they came into, I won't say possession. They don't possess him, but the way they came to know Salim and to bring him into the family is that he's actually a distant relative on the Fuhrer side.
Oh, so like we're not saying it's like a bastard son. We're saying like it's like a
no. It's just that it's exactly like distant relative son.
Who like lost his parents, and then we took custody.
Exactly. And Riza, who knows things, knows that the Fuhrer does not have like biological family, like the Fuhrer, because
he can't have a biological family.
Mustang shared. Well, not just that he can't have it, but Mustang shared Wrath's origin story with Riza, in that Wrath has no idea like who his family was. Like he was like a full orphan, so he doesn't know if his parents died. He doesn't know if he was kidnapped. He does not know if he was sold. So he has no idea what his origins are. He has that he knows of any living family or anyone that he could possibly understand to be a relative. And also, in addition to that, he has no, like, he cannot reproduce because he's homunculus. And so Riza knows that if he's a distant relative, then something is not adding up here, because it doesn't make any sense.
Something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
Exactly. So Riza is trying to keep it together and just like,
okay.
And then leaves because something is not right.
The Colonel told me that King Bradley was raised as a test subject. He doesn't have any family. He didn't even know his parents.
Sure.
I got that strange feeling from Salim. Could he be?
So, you've put it all together? All thanks to my stepmother. She just doesn't know how to shut up.
But
great, monster kid!
The baleful presence also gave you away.
Also, Hawkeye should go.
I recognized it somehow, but I'm just now realizing why. It's the same bloodlust I felt when Gluttony tried to attack me from behind. So, Salim Bradley, what exactly is your true identity?
And then...
Yeah, so, and as she's leaving, she can almost feel the presence, because she's like, I felt the same bloodlust from Gluttony. And, we can see the shadows. And, who are these shadows coming from? Hey, Dara. Have you met Pride?
You've got some nerve to ask me a question like that.
Hello?
Considering the circumstance. Such bravery. You've also shown good judgment by keeping your gun holstered. Such a move would only get you killed.
I'm guessing you're a homunculus, like Gluttony. No, you've got some kind of pressure coming from you that he didn't have.
I'm offended that you would even put Gluttony and me in the same league. You ask my name? It's Pride.
Hey!
I was the first homunculus.
Apparently, yes.
He also has another name, which is Salim Bradley. So Salim is Pride. Dara, how are you feeling about this?
Should we talk about it?
Yeah, do we talk about it here, or should I finish the scene first?
Okay, let's finish the scene first.
Scene.
I don't think that was one of my theories.
No, you talked about it.
Oh wait, the message.
You were this close to getting it.
Damn it!
You're a courageous
Yo, Hawkeye, you good?
He's not good. But what about? How does he get up
Why would I? I'd just be a pawn to you.
So that's a no. That's too bad. Oh well.
So we got a child in this.
Are you trying to humor me with your empty threats?
Hawkeye is kind of slowly putting it together and she's understanding that Salim Bradley is a homunculus and is slowly starting to kind of understand not just any old homunculus, for example, like Gluttony, she feels a certain kind of weight to his experience.
Well, we should establish that he is title of the episode.
Yes, he is, in fact, the very first homunculus. So he
is old.
He is ancient, and he is, I'm not sure like ancient, but he is old and he is powerful because his body and his capability is basically control through shadows. So he can move through shadows, and he can take the shadows out and then use them as weapons, which is terrifying.
So my question is, I guess, like, was he always the shape of a child?
I think...
Because, I mean, that kind of works, and then you're not going to assume a child.
Mm-hmm. I would say I'm
also concerned about how Hawkeye is going to get this information to other people.
Yeah.
Without her dying.
Yeah. I mean, I really understand just the
But it also kind of makes
it.
me think of, like, how much is Pride telling everybody? Because, like, keep going. I gotta.
Yeah.
I have so many thoughts.
So, yeah, but Pride's ability to do, as far as that we can understand, is able to have, like, either take the shadows, make them into, like, a sharp object, that like a knife that can cut things, or, like, have little grabby hands that kind of come out. And, like, so, like, as he's slowly, like, threatening Hawkeye.
And his voice is, like, not like the tubular dude. It's, like, very much like the twins in The Shining.
And creepy.
It's, like, well, it's very much like...
Soft and creepy.
Yeah, it's like, come play with us, Riza. We can have lots of fun.
Yeah.
Forever and ever.
But it's...
And ever.
I think it's important, too, though, that the Pride or Celine does not have, like, is not quite like a creepy child. Obviously is, like, child-shaped and, like...
It's kind of a creepy child.
Shadow's creepy, but, like, doesn't have, like, the creepy innocence that a lot of those creepy children have, which is like, oh, come play with us, or, like, do this, or, like, oh, let's be
It's kind
friends.
of like when he talks, it's, like, high-pitched, but it sounds like there's multiple voices.
Yeah, I mean, it's also, like, Pride has, showcases a degree of pride. Like, it's not like, oh, you know, because I think sometimes, like, weird evil creatures that take the form of a child can be, like, innocent and terrifying. I think Pride is very, like, knows exactly what's going on and does feel themselves to be, like, a degree above this. And as he's threatening Riza, you can see, like, the hands just kind of come up and start, like, wrapping around her and, like, around her neck. And, like, she understands that she is literally in the chokehold of the first homunculus, which is terrifying. And so she tries to keep... I mean, Riza's seen some shit, so, like, she's not gonna let this get to her. And so she basically comments that, like, hey...
It's just wasteful to kill your hostage.
Mm-hmm.
How perceptive you are. Just remember, Lieutenant, no matter where you are, I will be watching you from the shadows.
Pride is fucking terrifying.
Yeah! Also because, like, it's a child.
Do you remember when I said that there's ears everywhere?
You've got a job for me?
Like,
That's
how is he
correct.
there, though? That's my
You are a
question.
state alchemist, after all.
Little shadows.
And it's a few jobs, actually. 3.
That's terrifying!
It would be real dumb if you killed me because I'm literally a hostage and you don't want, like, she's like, basically, like, I'm leverage. You wouldn't get rid of me because that would be dumb. Like, what else would you have to hold over someone then? And he's like, you caught my bluff. Thanks. But
Fortunately, like she has a hostage because, like, if she dies, Mustang's just gonna murder everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because this is part of, I mean, kind of their relationship, like Roy and Riza, like, for whether it's healthy or not, I think they tie their lives very much together, which is just like, you gotta live because if you die, I'm going. So, like, yeah, it would be very bad, I think, for everybody to be in either other one of them's presence if they think the other one has died. So it's very fun, but it's not without, you know, like a real showcase of power, both with the shadow hands around Riza's neck, but also one kind of comes up and, like, just barely scrapes the surface of her skin. It's horribly, like, threatening and terrifying, and really is just like a show of, like, okay, I can do whatever I want to at any point. It's not great. So basically Pride kind of ends that with being like, I'm in the shadows, I'm watching you, okay, bye. So Dara, let's talk about Pride.
Okay,
let's talk about Pride.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because I was thinking also, because, like, there's, like, times when they think, like, okay, like, nobody's listening to us, but that means, like, basically, like, if he's in the shadows, that, like, somebody's always listening to them.
Yeah, well, I told you there were ears everywhere, and I meant
right, but there's, like, points when it's, like, it feels like they might be safe, like, they're in a car, or, like, someplace, like, an apartment, so it feels like, okay, they're safe there, but it kind of sounds like they were never safe, but I'm kind of thinking then, like, so how much do the bad guys actually know about, like, what they're telling each other?
I think,
like, Pride also kind of seems like maybe somebody who, like, is not giving everybody everything because he doesn't want to.
I think Pride has more power where there's a lot of shadow.
Oh, so if they're, like, in, like, broad daylight.
Yeah.
Well, actually, broad daylight, there's shadow.
Yeah, but it'd be harder for them to, like, move about because there's less shadow. Or, like, moving shadow. But, like, in a place where, like, the dark tunnel with, like, one light that's casting shadows everywhere.
Oh, like, but, like, if you're, like, in broad daylight, like, the sun's shining, like, there's a bunch of people around, it'd be harder to, like, hide in the shadow.
Yeah.
Okay, so, like, if they're in broad daylight, then they're probably okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's rules to it. I think this gets explored more later, probably. But my general understanding is that Pride moves through shadows. So you just gotta, like... And also, probably can't be... everything everywhere all at once.
Yeah.
But we have shown that Pride... Like, the physical body of Pride has been in Central this entire time, but is extending his power out as far as Briggs, which is on the literal other side of the country.
Right.
Fucking terrifying.
So.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you gonna read this? I'm so excited.
Where did I put it?
Dara, I want you to share every one of your Pride theories with me before we
well, okay, so I think I had at least, like, 12 or 13, like, theories about Pride. I originally thought that it was Hohenheim and he, like, had changed his, like, thing. Or, like, but then when we saw revealed what father loved, like, I'm kind of like, okay, that's probably not true.
Yeah.
And then I think that was, like, my big theory about, like, but then I kind of forgot about Pride, but I wasn't, like, figuring out who it was.
Yeah.
Because I think I said at one point was it Kimberly, but then you said it wasn't, so I'm like, okay. I don't know who else I said I thought it was.
You thought you jokingly said a couple episodes ago that it was Mrs. Bradley. And
I
was like, ha!
Right. And then before we watched the episode, I'm like, it's some person.
Yeah. You're right.
But as of this this recording, because it's going to come out a couple weeks later.
Yeah.
So yesterday,
as of recording, it's one day before recording this.
I messaged Cailin and said, OMG, I just had a really ridiculous Fullmetal Alchemist theory that is very out there and probably not true.
Yeah.
And you said, please share. And then I said, okay, so Selim, King Bradley's son, is actually made of goo, was created by father so that Bradley would appear as a family man. And then you said, like, a really fucked up Cabbage Patch doll.
I said a really fucked up.
And then I said, actually, I was thinking of the weird plant monster from the Kim Possible movie. But yeah, I mean, it's probably not true, but it's fun.
But yeah, exactly. Oh my god, I was like, Dara, you're so close. You were literally this close. I have been waiting for you to jokingly say, maybe Selim is Pride. And you didn't, and I was actually, one, I was surprised, and two, I was very happy because I really wanted this to, like, hit when it happened.
I think it more hit me that I was like, oh my god, that thing I said was stupid is actually kind of bright.
You were so close with that. It's so good. Like, and this is such a fun, like, twist reveal.
But it also makes me think. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I just, like, this was one of the ones I was really excited for us to get to. There's a bunch of things I'm still excited for us to get to, but as far as, like, twists and reveals, I think this was probably the last one. No, I think there's technically one more, but it's like, it's not like a big deal. It's like it's not really a huge, like, story thing. But this was the one when I'm worried about spoilers, this was probably the last big spoiler I was worried about was Selim being Pride.
We probably should figure out who Hohenheim is. That's also kind of a big spoiler.
Yeah, I think I'm less. I was more not like genuinely worried, but I think, like, the shock factor of, like, figuring out who Selim is very fun.
Well, I was like, I guess because, like, one, like, you're not, like, that's, like, my thing of also, I'm, like, wondering, like, was his shape always of a child?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he was.
That's gonna get. I think that will get explored more later.
And I don't think he was created the same way that, like, because, well,
yeah,
okay, yeah, you're okay. Because I'm thinking, like, one, it would be kind of fucked up to, like, put a Philosopher's Stone in a child.
Yeah.
So I don't think he was created the way, like, the fear was made.
I'll go ahead and say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, because, like, we kept saying, like, oh, he kind of looks like the fear. Like, he has his eyes, like, the same hair, and, like, that kind of thing. So, like, my thing would be like, we want the fear to present as a family man because, like, government, that's what people like, and yada, yada, yada. So, like, he gets married and then he has a kid. But I'm thinking, like, is there some kind of like, I'm thinking like, since Pride is the oldest, does he have more than one power? Can he, is he like a mishmash of like the other sins of like, can he also shapeshift and like look like a child?
I don't. He doesn't really shapeshift. I'll say. I just think his power is just like OP as fuck.
I guess like, did he always look like that? Because then it's because
I can't say only because I think it's mentioned later.
Okay.
It's not like a huge thing, but I will say like I think there's a long period of time which Salim kind of looks sort of like that. Like I think it's very like we should expect Pride has been in a child form for a very long time.
Right, but I'm also thinking that technically I think Hawkeye can like during like a daylight or whatever specifically can tell Mustang about this.
Yeah.
Because if we're thinking about it, one, like the shadow thing, like you said, but two, like she said, she's a hostage, like essentially, so that Mustang doesn't like do anything.
Yeah.
And at this point, at least to our main, like at least to like the government main, it's established. I don't know like how much they actually know, but it's established that if you hurt somebody, if you kill somebody that Mustang really cares about, he will go like full like murder and like burn somebody alive.
The problem why Mustang is so involved in this and he's getting in everyone's way is because they killed somebody he cared about.
Right, and they think that like if they kill somebody else that they love, he's gonna probably like go full blast. And like one, we know that. Two, he already killed a homunculus.
Yeah.
So like
he's already got one on down.
So really like Hawkeye can tell like Mustang this.
Yeah.
And she will still probably be alive.
Yeah.
Because they wanna at least keep like Mustang close to the chest, because if they don't, he's gonna go ballistic. And like, I mean, we know like, but so that was a lot.
It's so good. I'm so happy this information.
I mean, like if you're gonna hide as a homunculus, are you sweating?
No. I was gonna hide something. We're good.
I was like, if you're gonna hide as a homunculus, like doing it as a child, it's pretty good. But I do kind of wonder, like, what are the conversations that they have like when Mrs. Bradley's not around?
Yeah,
they're like, "Good night, Mom. I love you. All right, let's."
Right, it's like, wow, I'm so happy to be here. I fucking hate all these kids. Like, what is school like? It's gotta be like, okay, class, today we're gonna learn addition.
No, it's like. It kind of reminds me. Remember, it was like in Sky High when Mary Elizabeth said it's like revealed to be the villain, and then she's like, "I went through puberty twice for this." Already.
Yeah, it's very good. That's really funny, but yeah, it's crazy actually. So Tara, I can finally say this. Do you remember the episode?
No.
Do you remember the episode where Greed gets put in the dip?
Yeah.
And do you remember when, like, they bring him in, and then they're like, it's you guys, and they, like, mention, like, Sloth, and we show, like, a picture of Sloth for, like, a second.
It is kind of funny, sorry, like, but it's kind of funny, like, basically for the most part of, like, after, like, the turning point, the only person we didn't know who they were was Pride.
Yeah.
Which is
but
fun.
So then we see like Sloth, and it's a whole thing, and then like Fear Bradley comes in, and he's like, "I shut the fear, so homunculus, that's wild." And then like the episode, I think then Greed gets turned to dip, and that episode closes with I think the Fear going back home, and then Celine being like, "Wow, Dad, it's great to see you." Fun fact: that is the only episode where all 7 of the homunculi are shown. and I couldn't tell you. I could have said something, and then that probably would have like put a list of like who Pride could have been, but I didn't want to give you any of that information. But there was an early episode, the episode where Greed gets turned dip is the one where the only episode with all of the homunculi in it.
Yeah.
So I think that's really fun.
But yeah, I am kind of curious. Like, did he always look like a small child, or like did maybe? Well, even because like if he's old enough, I think like Father could have maybe like can Father like change their form?
That's a good question.
Especially if they're not like a human made.
Yeah, I think
he can do a lot of stuff.
I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility.
Oh, okay.
What do you got?
Okay, so last episode when Hohenheim was like doing the thing, he was like saying a bunch of names.
Yeah.
So like, actually, I don't know if this makes sense. Okay, so like, can he just like put the soul of Pride into like a body, and like was that Hohenheim? Like beforehand, Because, like, it feels like something with Hohenheim, because, like, it feels like he had a lot of, like, souls in his body at one point.
Yeah.
So, like...
Yeah.
Something. I don't know if it fully makes sense, but I was like...
Put a pin in it. We'll talk about when we get to Hohenheim's proper episode. We'll talk about it.
When is that?
Probably in 2025.
Oh, that's like the next like major thing. Well, that and why are we doing this?
Yeah. Yes.
Which you still can't. Also, like that also can't be spoiled for me, right?
Yeah. No. And I'll be so real that I think there's certain things that I would not be able to articulate well until we've rewatched the episodes, because I cannot stress how long it's been since I watched the series.
Are we doing like another Bakuno thing where it's like, let's rewatch stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that would be fun. Well, I won't make you watch the full first episode, but there is something where we'll go back and rewatch later.
Okay.
Because that'll be fun.
What else happened in this episode?
First off, he wants you to hunt down Scar. You just find him, I'll take care of the rest. Secondly, he wants you to locate Dr. Marco, who is very likely fled with Scar.
Why is Dr. Marco with Scar?
The only thing you need to worry about is finding them. And last but not least, he wants you to carve a crest of blood here.
A crest of blood?
What?
Just like what I did in Ishval. It's very simple. We kill everyone and soak the land with their blood.
Let's not
take part.
Anyway, so now we're gonna get to back to the main characters. So of course, way early in the episode, Kimberly pulled Ed aside to have a chat. We're gonna actually see what that chat is right now, and it's pretty much Kimberly kind of relaying orders from King Bradley, and basically saying some of the following is that Ed is being assigned 3 jobs. One is to find Scar.
Cool.
But don't do anything with Scar. Just find him.
Cool.
Because Kimberly wants to take care of the rest.
Yeah.
The second is to locate Dr. Marco.
Cool.
Because he's probably with Scar anyway.
Cool.
And Ed's like, what? And he's like, don't worry about it.
Cool.
And the third one is they're going to carve a crest of blood into Fort Briggs.
Cool.
So you might be asking, what's a crest of blood? It's actually highlighted here. What does the article say? Don't look.
Oh,
it just related to the... So... I think, and Crest of Blood, I think is going to be the formal name for those areas on the map that we circled.
Yeah.
And basically what a Crest of Blood entails is to kill everyone.
Not cool.
Major bloodshed, major loss of life. And then that's, which is used as part of that giant transmutation circle. So he's like, we got to do that here, and you're going to help me. And Ed's like, no. And Kimberly's like, you're literally in the military. What did you expect? Not to kill people? And Ed's like, that's exactly what I expected, actually.
I've gone 37 episodes without killing anybody.
Yeah. Honestly, you should be thanking me at this point.
There was a time when I probably should have killed something, and I didn't.
But there's the reality situation here is that Kimberly has something he has one up on Ed, because, literally, their hostage is right there, in their clutches, and they can just... any point.
Assault with Al and Winry.
Why tell Winry?
She has no idea she's involved. Despite what you're asking of me, I refuse to hide the truth from her.
I love her.
All right, then. But you're not telling her without me there. I don't want you telling her too much.
I wish they had a code or a language that they all spoke.
I know.
You were only brought to Briggs as a hostage.
What? What does he mean, Al? Are you joking?
Does it look like it is?
Bam. Here. And so he's like, well, okay, well, either help me do this, or girlfriend. Dunzo.
She's not my girlfriend.
And Ed kind of asks, Kimberly, why are you doing this? They don't, they're trying to kill a bunch of people. Why are you all for that? He's like, I just kind of want to see what happens. He's like, the homunculi are kind of interesting. I want to see what happens if they take over.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Well, I'm not 100% sure if this is it's not a full match, but I kind of kept getting these vibes of your other one true love, Claire Stanfield.
Yeah. Aw. I love Claire Stanfield. Claire Stanfield's wild.
I don't know that vibe, because I think wasn't Claire Samuel's vibe of just like nobody else exists except for me, and like once I die.
Claire was very like solipsistic and had like this very like mixed morality of like basically set the standards for his own morality to be like, this is what I deem good, this is what I deem bad, and is basically uses a very solipsistic worldview to justify that, because his morals were not founded upon literally anyone else's belief system. So he's just kind of wild like that. Kimberly is more like, I think Kimberly.
Well, kind of also getting like the vibe of like the Satan in Baccano, where he was like, let me just like give these like people some like immortal secret formula, and like let's just see what happens.
Exactly, and Kimberly doesn't really have any like power in this to dictate or do anything, but he's again, I think him like as alchemists, I think there is always a degree, there's a scientific process to things to understand. I think how Kimberly's kind of worldview shapes that is that he's like, hey, there's a power struggle here. This is the world that I understand, and we don't really know what a world ruled by the homunculi are like. And if they're claiming to be the next best thing, let me kind of put my finger on the scale and help kind of usher that along. So it's more of like it's a very like messed up thing. It's kind of like I feel like in the way that I don't know if children actually do this, but I remember being like young and like the way that you relate to like historical events and things, being like, oh, I wonder if something like that were to happen, and then it does, and you're like, I've made a horrible mistake.
I do remember doing that. If that would happen today, that led to trauma for me, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like, I don't know if I want to keep it in, because my thing would be like, what happens if like the Holocaust happened now?
Yeah, right. Which would be bad actually. So but understanding like that, I think Kimberly is more like wanting to help see what happens and just generally understand what happens. So he's a psychopath.
Yep,
pretty much. But like,
and also like unfortunately, like we like the vibe that they get from Ed and Al is that they're not going to kill anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So like I feel like Winry's kind of a bit more like, what's the word I'm thinking of?
Collateral?
No, like easier to. It would be. But it would be more okay. Like, they wouldn't have as many consequences killing Winry than they would Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I don't know the word I'm thinking.
Ordered by the Fuhrer to fulfill my duties as a human weapon. In other words, they're ordering me to help them commit mass murder.
Why don't you just refuse?
Because you're a hostage, moron.
I see. That's why. No. Sorry. They're using me to hold you down.
It's not your fault, baby.
I won't cry. I won't. I'm just upset at myself for being so naive.
Aw, honey.
I'm sorry. All you were trying to do was get your original bodies back again.
Whatever. That's what I mean. Basically, like, because like as far as they think that like the Albert brothers have like this like moral high ground that they're not going to kill anybody. Yeah. Or like anything like that, like they would not be able to be okay with this. But like the truth of the matter is, like if somebody killed Winry, we don't really know what they would do.
Yeah, and also I think Kimberly also makes the point as well. I think he calls this out, right? He's like, oh, you don't want to kill anyone, but by your refusal to kill is going to end up indirectly killing someone. So like, haha, enjoy that,
suck it,
sucker. And then also kind of to help like influence. Ed, he pulls out one of his Philosopher's Stones, notably the old one. So he has 2 Philosopher's Stones. One was just given him by Indy.
I'm gonna keep the new one.
Yeah, obviously. He's got the new shiny one. He's like, oh, here's my refurbished model, and
it's still probably powerful.
It can definitely do things. And so he kind of gives that to Ed, and doesn't give it to him, but like basically is like, you want your body back? You could use this.
And they don't want to use it because they know how it was made.
Mm-hmm. But Ed it's got to kind of play the game here. And so he's like, hey, he's like, if I'm gonna come with you for anything, he's like, I gotta tell Winry first. So he basically negotiates for Kimberly to let Ed fill Winry in on what is going on.
Yeah.
Because it's important for her to understand exactly what her role is in the situation. And Kimberly says, you can do that, I just have to be in the room when it happens.
Yeah. The room where it happens.
Exactly. And so then we kind of see that conversation happen, so Ed goes to where Winry is, Winry and Al are, and basically like, hey, here's what's going on. Also, you're a hostage.
Basically.
Sorry to fill you in on this, but I gotta go do some things now that are not great. And Winry, I think, is very upset with herself because she was very naive in the situation. She kind of recognizes her naivety and is like, oh, I just played right into somebody's trap. That's not very
But I'm not gonna cry.
She's like, yeah, she's like, I'm not crying. I'm just mad at myself. And which is fair. And so
About that, they actually offered me a Philosopher's Stone as payment.
A stone? But
That's right, Kimberly has one.
we can't, brother. The ingredients for a stone.
I know, Al.
Nope. What are you planning? Oh!
Go ahead and do what you want.
I will.
There's a plan. There's a plan!
Oh, they're brothers!
they're
It's settled.
closer than brothers.
I'm in, all right? But finding Scar is the first thing I want to do.
Al is kind of confused at the situation. Al is confused on why Ed would agree to kind of go through some of the things that Kimberly is asking for. But they share kind of like a wordless exchange because like Ed's face is basically like, I got this. And Al's like, oh, okay, you got this. And Al kind of understands what tone to take and how to move forward with it.
Yeah.
And also one of the conditions as well is that if Ed is going to look for Scar, then Al gets to come too.
They keep wanting to keep them separate.
Yeah, well, because they do want to keep them separate, but Al, because of his body, is more impervious to Scar's attacks.
That's
because even if like Al's body gets slightly damaged, it doesn't kill him in the way that it kills like people who are made of like flesh.
We also kind of get the vibe that like Al doesn't want to actually use a Philosopher's Stone to get his body back because they know how it's made.
Yeah, because Ed says to Al, he's like, "Yeah, Kimberly offered me a Philosopher's Stone," and Al is like, what? You know that's made with," and then Ed's kind of like,
and then we're like, got it.
Okay, cool. And so they kind of move from there. So Ed kind of, as they're leaving, mentions like he wants to look for Scar first before they do the thing where they kill everyone. And he's like, well, and kind of sells it to Kimberly like, oh, well, Scar killed, my friend's parents. So like, I want to do a revenge. And which is out of character for Ed if you know Ed.
Oh yeah? Why's that?
Scar is the one who murdered Winry's parents. They deserve vengeance.
I see. Fine with me.
Also, I need Al with me. He doesn't have a body, so he's immune to Scar's bodily destruction.
Well, that is helpful.
You're okay with this, Al?
The Philosopher's Stone? They can only be made by sacrificing human lives. Don't worry. Brother would never actually use one.
True.
And we don't need it. We think we might be able to use Xingyi's alchemy to get our bodies back. There's a girl that's been working with Scar. We think that she can teach it to us.
So then, is he going after Scar to find this girl?
I think so.
I see. Then I guess I had better hurry up and come up with a believable excuse.
Huh?
Oh. But everyone else is like, all right, cool, that makes sense. And let's see, and kind of we go from there. So, and then Winry's got to figure out. She's like,
well, Al kind of explains to Winry what the actual plan is.
Yeah, because Al's like, don't worry, he's not going to do something like that.
And they're not going to use, and like they want to find Scar because they know that the Mei Chang was with Scar.
Yeah, yes.
So they're aware of that. So the idea is basically they're like, okay, we're gonna find Scar as part of this like plan.
Yeah.
And because we want to learn about alchemy, because we think that's another
that's gonna be the way they get their bodies back.
A more ethical way to get their bodies back.
Exactly. So they're gonna go for there. So they have a plan. So they know they're in kind of a dire situation, but it's not a hopeless situation yet.
Yeah.
And so Winry as well wants to find a way to, contribute. She doesn't want to be anybody's pawn anymore. She wants to find a way to contribute. So she also has to think of an excuse to kind of get into the position that she needs to get in.
Yeah.
Come on, Al, scoop for some.
What are you doing, Winry?
I'm I'm sorry, Winry, but you need
And
to
then he
wait here
died?
at the fort. We're not going for a picnic.
And neither am I. I just performed a complicated upgrade on his automail that I've never done before.
Yeah.
What if there's a malfunction? It would tarnish the Rockbell name if I'm not there to fix it.
Yep.
Do you even realize how obsessed with your job you are? You're a workaholic.
And proud of it, too. This
Yeah.
is my family's business
Very
for
well
4
then,
generations.
you can join us.
God, these kids are annoying.
I love them.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Goodbye.
So they finally kind of go to leave Briggs, so Kimberly is kind of like escorting them out, and Ed and Al are in the car to go to wherever they need to go to, and Winry just like meanders her way and is like, "Oh, I'm sorry, hi, I'm coming with, actually."
Because you need an automail.
Because Kimberly's like, "You can't come," and she's like, "Well, you see, I just performed a very intricate replacement of equipment, and this is very sensitive. If anything happens, I need to be there." And he's like,
fine. And then they start arguing as like they would.
Yeah, and so they start like they start playing with Ed being like, but why you're so crazy, blah, blah, blah. You're such a workaholic, blah, blah. And she's like, you're so crazy, blah, blah, blah. And so like they're really playing it up, and they know like they're all close enough to like know how to like fit the script of their usual conversations.
Yeah.
But everyone's got an ulterior motive here.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Okay. Well, that's pretty much where we end the episode. Thoughts on that, Derek?
A lot happened?
God, a lot happened. I mean, we got one major reveal in this episode, and we got some propelling to our
So
next
now we
spiral.
know all of we know who all the homunculus are.
All of the homunculi have been identified.
Hooray.
Woo.
We still don't know who Hohenheim is in this.
No. That's okay though.
I remember when I thought he was Pride. I was so innocent.
That wasn't a bad theory. I actually thought that was a very good theory.
Yeah, I mean, because it gets the vibe. He gives a vibe of like I am not human, and I did some bad stuff, and I'm probably way older than my common law wife.
Right. So I believe. I mean, the things we understand about Hohenheim so far is that like he cannot age or has not aged in a very long time, and that like he has what sounds like our souls inside of him, maybe. Which are things that are...
He's also probably somehow related to Father, because one, Father knows who he is,
and
like
two,
his full name, and two, they look
exactly alike.
alike.
And so I think like with all of those things, without understanding, I think it would have been completely viable to think of Hohenheim as Pride.
I am wondering if like, is Father his father, not Hohenheim's father, and like, maybe like whatever Hohenheim was like the original plan for the
Grandpapa. Maybe.
I guess my thinking was like Hohenheim like the original created as like the original plan for this.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he made him like too like human, like maybe like or like something got messed up, and like he could like learn about human life, because like with the other homunculus, it's like they don't actually like feel anything.
Yeah, or they're so driven by like their one aspect.
Yeah, and I don't think he did that with Hohenheim. I don't think that's not the case with Hohenheim, because he like interacted with humans and like learned.
Yeah, I think,
and also he can reproduce.
I think a lot of his like emotional constipation is probably deal with his more so of his life experiences than the.
But like something's up.
Something is up. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me. It's like my thing was like with like Orphan Black. Remember when in season 2 when we were kind of wondering how come like Sarah could have a child.
Oh yeah.
And that, and like Rachel the husband, and then basically her father basically said like, well, like they're failures. We didn't want you guys to reproduce.
Yeah.
So it's like a thing of like, is Hohenheim like a design that was a failure of a design?
Mm-hmm. That ended up being more man than monster. Who is the monster? Who's the man? These are the questions.
Frollo was the monster.
Would you like some trivia?
Sure.
All right. Well, any other episodes about like I guess any other thoughts about Pride? I guess. That was a lot, but that was great.
I am kind of wondering about like what he looked like before the child thing, because I kind of felt like he probably didn't look like a child for a good amount of his life, which is apparently a long time.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's like. I don't think that's a big focus. So
it doesn't have
prepare to be disappointed if that's not something that's talked about a lot.
Okay.
Well, Maybe I'm lying. You know what? Well, you know what? We'll find out.
Okay.
I was thinking about some different things, but I'm going to get some trivia and we'll circle back later. All right, here's some trivia. This episode is adapted from chapters 70 and 71 of the manga.
Cool.
Winry's suggestion that Ed wear a shin guard to protect his new leg is left out. However, the shin guard appears on Ed's person later in the episode.
Could you listen to Winry?
Because you listen to Winry. The array that appears in the background of this episode's title card is the Ouroboros.
Where is his Ouroboros?
That's a good question. Hold on.
Should I cover my eyes?
He does not have a visible one.
Huh.
Yeah. I think he gets some special perks when you're the first one.
That's fair. Okay.
I'm
like, okay, it's fine.
Ed's line. So apparently Ed remarks to Kimley that in the manga, I'm surprised you even passed the state alchemist sanity test.
I didn't even know there was a test.
I mean, the military has that too. Like, the regular military is like, you got to prove that you are not insane at first.
Yeah.
You can be insane later, but like, I don't know. It does leave out Kimley's ability to act normal around those who fail to understand him. We kind of see that, though. Additionally, Kimberly's assertion that his admiration for Winry's Rockbells, Winry Rockbell is... apparently in the manga, Kimberly has to assert that he is, his admiration for Winry Rockbell is strictly platonic. I guess just to fuck with Ed. In the English of the episode, Kimberly mentions to Winry that his team had been dispatched to help her parents during the Civil War, but in the original Japanese version, both in the anime and manga, Kimberly is careful to imply that his mission was a rescue, but never states it.
I also think like the platonic thing of just like, I hope that it's platonic Kimberly, because I'm pretty sure you're an adult and when you're a teenager.
And, yeah.
So,
I don't think it's that deep.
I don't think he was trying to flirt with her because gross.
So when Ed is reciting the periodic table, instead of reciting it in order of atomic number, he skips the fifth element, boron. Then after oxygen, skips fluorine, neon, potassium, and calcium before putting sulfur, before aluminum, and finally randomly skipping to chromium, going in order from there. That is so specific. Shout out to the wiki writers for taking time to figure that out.
Listen, when I don't know this because I'm not a man, but like when you have those moments, I think your brain goes a little
right.
The blood is down. The blood is down there.
Yep. You got to do the best you can with what you got, probably. All right, Dara, do you have any other thoughts before we go to Comment Corner?
Should I get sushi for dinner?
No.
You just don't like sushi, though.
Okay, but like, do you want me to ruin sushi for you?
That it's not real in America?
No, something else. So there, hold on, I'm going to tell you this. Please cut this out of here. Okay, do you know, TikTok.
Yeah.
Do you know Keith Lee?
No.
Okay, so he's a guy that does food reviews.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a food critic, but he's very humble. He like does it in his car. He like makes sure that people don't like, he has his family order it for him so people don't know, like recognize his face or anything. So he went to this sushi place in Seattle.
Yeah.
And he's like doing the sushi video, so he like takes up a thing and he goes to eat it. And he eats it and he's like, oh, this is really good. But if you play back the video, before he goes to consume it, if you look at the bottom of the sushi, you see some go whoop. There's like a worm in it. And he goes whoop. And then he eats the worm and everyone's like, bro, dude, there was a parasite in there. And so there's discourse whether it was a parasite, and it was basically someone came out, and then someone else that ate at the same restaurant and like got sick later. He did not get sick as far as we know. But then, so people were sharing that like, oh, the place advertised that it got like fresh fish. So like the fish were like fresh, like caught and then brought to the thing. The thing is, actually for sushi, what you're supposed to do is like do a proper like freezing cycle. So it's supposed to be frozen for so long, and then de-thawed. And even though that doesn't sound like it's fresh, it's actually better because that's what kills all the parasites in eggs.
Yeah.
So
I knew that.
Yeah. So anyway, that really like reinforced why I don't like sushi. No, I've had sushi in Japan because
you also had sushi at my house.
Yeah, but I didn't have like
You're a California roll.
I didn't have raw stuff though.
I don't think I've ever. I mean, like the sushi, I've had raw tuna before, but like that's about it.
But like I've eaten the raw fish, but that was in Japan because the safety standards are different, and so I follow what the food safety standards are.
That didn't ruin sushi for me.
Okay, good. But it's just important to know that. Let's see. All right. I think it's time for a comment corner. It's time for a comment corner. Yeah. Oh, we're going to do episode 27, 28. We talked about this last time, but Matthew Mata comments, this was the quote-unquote clip show episode, and Matthew Mata says, not a clip show, a transmutation of the show, which was one of my favorite episodes. He actually broke this down better in a previous comment.
Yeah.
We had that last time we did a comment corner. So I would recommend going back and either watching us talk about it or like go back to that video and read it, because I think it's like a really good breakdown of how that works.
Yeah.
Penny Rocker comments and says, I really liked the visual parallel of father telling papa, thank you, that humans are imbeciles, always making the same mistakes throughout history, and then watching literal children dancing in circles around a fire, the circularity and the danger of it all. Also, alcohol, good. Gotcha.
Thank you, alcohol.
No, that's a really good thing, right? Like the idea of like children going around, because like children are inherently like have not experienced enough to like have that level of intelligence, and then playing with fire, but then going around in circles. That's a really good visual read of that. Why are all of our followers so smart and funny? They literally are. Anytime you guys say something, I'm like, man, that's so much better than me, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Zom says, I'm so glad you didn't skip this episode. I see so many reactors skip it. And I was like, which is a shame, because I think there's some really interesting stuff there.
Yeah, there's some important stuff. Like, it kind of gives the first like kind of emotional aspect of Hohenheim.
Yeah, and I think the show really, just like Matthew Mata was saying, like the information it gives you is cut together in such a way where it's like some of the messages are clearer, and it's like it suddenly kind of like reorders the narrative in a way where you're like you start putting things together yourself, and which I think is very effective.
Yeah.
Zom says, I know there was a bit of a dry spell where I hadn't commented because I was adjusting to now working 2 jobs. I hope those are going well for you, Zom, and I hope you're making much dollar bills, so you can go purchase things, or just pay your bills, because like,
or both.
I get it. Yeah, do both. I hope you're able to buy something fun. Then Nika Noor says, I don't know why it never occurred to me before now that the father Hohenheim is talking with is just as much a product of his mind. And the Pinako and Trisha, his sense of humanity is low enough that he can justify father's viewpoint even if it still disturbs him. That's a really good read as well. There's a lot to pick apart in this episode.
Yeah, because it kind of gets the vibe of just like it feels like he was probably like with father for like a really, really long time, so much so that's like ingrained in your brain, and like that part, and like even if you learn differently, that part's still there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Was that
Fun Times?
What episode was that? Was that 27? 28. But I clicked 29 instead.
28.
Oh, that's the one. Is that the one that we had to like repost because it got weird?
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, is this 28?
It should say repost.
28. There we go.
I think there was some comments on the one that we had to delete.
Yeah, we're gonna do that next time. This is actually the episode before that.
Okay.
But it's ordered weird on like my end, so I was like, are we good? Now we're gonna read the comments from episode 28. Zom says, yay, Greedling is finally here. Zom alluded to Greedling like many episodes ago, so I'm so excited that we're finally here, because I believe this was one of Zom's favorite characters. Because this is the episode where Greedling arrives. And relating to that, I think I replayed a clip about like us talking about how he was going to show up, and so Panty Rocker comments, the replay, editor Cailin, take a bow. Yes, thank you. Editor Cailin needs their ego stroked frequently. So, all right, that is all the comments that we have for today. We should close this episode up, I think.
Okay.
I think that'd be good. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us today. Fullmetal Alchemist is a crazy show, and I love it. It's one of my favorites. But of course, if you are enjoying what we're doing, please be sure to comment or review for us. We try to read those comments on the show, especially on our YouTube channel, so you can go ahead and subscribe to us on there so you always know when we're posting a new video. And don't forget to also leave those comments as well. We really appreciate that. You can also follow us on a variety of social media. You can listen to our audio-only versions on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that good stuff. We were at Witty Close on there. All those links are probably somewhere in the description of wherever you're listening to this.
Yeah.
We are also available on Patreon. Dara, what are we doing on Patreon?
Live streams. Spin-off show, First Direction or Fan Reaction. We're watching After Last Airbender.
It's a good time.
Yeah, you get this episode a week early, so you get to hear me squee a week early.
I know, it's good. You get to see all the spoilers before your friends, and it's a really good time. Get to hear our funny jokes. So, all right. Yes, please be sure to maybe give us money if you would like to. If you're able to, we really appreciate it. We also shout out to all of our current Patreon subscribers. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right. Also, if you want to email us for any reason, we are wittyclothes@gmail.com. I don't know what, but
thank you.
Thanks, I guess. All right, please keep watching because next time we're going to talk about Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood with episode 38, Conflict at Bashul, and episode 39, Daydream.
Daydream believer and the homecoming queen.
All right, until next time, I'm Chloe.
I'm Dara Whitman.
Peace.
I'm glad she's having fun. I am glad. He punched a child, didn't he?
Yep.
What'd you do that for? Because life isn't fair.
That was messed up.
Real live Northern Automail. That's the first I've seen.
Oh, yeah? You want to come check out my work shed then?
Oh, please, I'd love to.
Hey.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
It'll keep her safe at least, right?
Try to keep on your toes and don't go off exploring. Not on your own. It's not safe here.
To meet you.
You must be working hard to be up so late.
Not really. I just had to bring your father some documents. But I should be going now. Sorry I woke you. Good night, Salim.
Are you making that Mustang guy?
No.
You need your
Hi, Dara. Have you met Pride?